Hello, Yeshua Television UK viewers. My name is Pastor Jimba Alex, and I'm happy, delighted to be with you once again on my show. How you doing? How's it going? Well, I've just conjured up a topic in my mind, and I'm like, I have to share it with my Facebook, what's it called again? Friends. I have to share it with my YouTube followers. And the topic for today is going to be Moses is a black man. Moses is a black Israeli. Moses was a black Israeli that was born in Egypt thousands of years ago. So the Bible tells us all the stories and all the miracles that God did through Moses, but the Bible doesn't really truly give us the full explanation of who Moses was originally. So I'm here to take you back into history and say to you that Moses, the prophet who God gave the 10 Commandments, is a black Israeli who was born in Egypt, probably 7,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. Yeah. Moses was born in Egypt 7,000 years ago. Now, who lives in Egypt 7,000 years ago? The ancient pharaohs, weren't they black? The pyramid builders, weren't they black? Did Moses ever come to Europe? I don't think so. Is Moses' real name really Moses? I don't think so. These people have got African names. But that's not what I'm going to today. I'm here to say that Moses was a black Israelite. I think I've got a picture here somewhere. Moses was a black Israelite that was born in ancient Egypt to Israeli parents, ancient Israeli parents. So here you can see Moses has got a rod in his hand. You can see the Red Sea behind him, 10 Commandments and everything. So Moses, as far as I'm concerned, was born in Egypt, and when Moses was actually born in Egypt 7,000 to 10,000 years ago, I don't know specifically the appropriate specific time, but what I do know is Moses himself, when he was born, there was no such place called Europe. There was no such place called Europe then. So, out of anger, as we all know, in the Bible, Moses killed an Egyptian, a black Egyptian, an ancient Egyptian. And the reason why Moses killed this black ancient Egyptian was because Moses' people, the ancient Israelites, the Hebrew Jews, were being oppressed by their slave masters at the time. And Moses is like, no, I'm going to do something about this. So Moses killed an ancient Egyptian. This thing happened about 10,000 years ago. This is black people living in their own world. In ancient Egypt. Kemet. In those days, there was no such place called Africa. Because it's Europeans that created Africa. There was no such place called Africa. It was Europeans that carved out Africa. When Moses was alive, Moses was living in Kemet, Egypt, an Egyptian kingdom. Just like the Benin kingdom, the Mali kingdom, the Ashanti kingdom. And the list goes on and on and on. There was black kingdom, there was no Africa then. There was no colonial masters then. Moses never witnessed colonialism. No colonial master came to Israel or to Egypt in the days of Moses and says to him, I'm taking over your land. No, it wasn't like that. So the ancient Egyptians were black. And the ancient Israelites were black. And to be honest with you, to prove to you that Moses is a black man, Moses never spoke no European language. So Moses didn't speak no Scottish language. Moses didn't speak no German language. Moses didn't speak no Italian language. Moses spoke a black man's language, which was Aramaic, a Hebrew language. Moses also spoke an ancient black Egyptian language. So black people all over the world in their kingdoms, they all had their own languages before the colonial masters came. You have to understand this. That Moses spoke ancient Egyptian languages. And those languages were black people languages. They're the ancestors' languages. The white Europeans never spoke no ancestors' languages. You know why? Because they are not the ancestors of the world. The Chinese never spoke no ancestors' languages because they're not the ancestors of the world. The Indians never spoke any ancestors' languages because they're not the ancestors of the world. Moses spoke a black ancestors' language because black people are the ancestors of the whole world. Now we're getting closer. Now we're getting closer. Now we are getting closer. Moses never spoke no European language. So Moses is a black ancestor. The topic for today is Moses is a black man. I'm showing you what I mean. Moses spoke the ancestors' language. Yeah, that's what Moses spoke. The ancestors' language. This is real. Moses spoke the ancestors' language. If you like it or not, we cannot be deceived. Moses is a black man that wrote the Torah. In the Bible, I think the Torah is the first 4 black books of the Old Testament. Genesis, Exodus, and the list goes on and on and on. Those books were written by a black man, Moses. But when we're reading the Bible today, it's all written in English. They brainwashed your mind so much, you begin to think that it's Europeans that originally wrote the Bible. No. It's black people that wrote the Bible. There you go. And Moses himself wrote the Torah, the first 4 black books in the Bible. Moses wrote Exodus. Moses wrote the book of Exodus, where he's teaching us that the black people had to leave Egypt because they were slaves. He's teaching us something. And you know, I want you to understand as well, when I say to you that Moses is a black man, you got to try to understand what I'm saying, because when Egypt was slaving the ancient Israelites, ancient Egypt was slaving the ancient Israelites, that was black on black slavery. Yes, that was black on black slavery. That was black on black slavery. You know, think about this. I'm even laughing. To even prove further to you that Moses is a black man here, listen to this. When the Israelites, the oppressors, the slave masters here, were after the ancient Israelites and they were running away, and God said to Moses, use that rod you got in your hand now and split the Red Sea. That Red Sea is an African sea. It happened in Africa. That Red Sea is not in Europe. That's another point again. The Red Sea is in Egypt. It's an African sea. 10,000 years ago, these were black people. Moses is a black man. So if the ancient Egyptians were slaving the ancient Israelites about 10,000 years ago, and God said to Moses, go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go, it shows me that black people were the first people to ever do slavery in the world. So when the Europeans came to slave black people, that was nothing new to black people. That's not the first time that slavery has happened. When the Arabian slavery happened, when these Arabs were slaving black people in the Middle East, that's not the first time slavery happened. Slavery first happened in the days of the black Moses and Pharaoh. These were black people. Black people were the first people to ever introduce slavery into the world. And you know the funny part as well? Moses was the first man on earth, a black man, to abolish slavery. Because slavery came to an end. So when slavery was abolished 400 years ago, black people were being enslaved in America. That's not the first time slavery was abolished. Slavery was first abolished when Moses abolished slavery by delivering the black Israelites out of the hands of their oppressors, the black Egyptians. Wow, 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 wow. God really loves black people so much. He handed the 10 Commandments over to a black man. Black man Moses. Share the 10 Commandments. With the rest of the world. God entrusted a black man with his 10 Commandments. La kosi karaba sekende. Mandura ba sekete gedegedege. Shikaroba sekereba. Makuzagunda raba sikande. Shakunta. Hey rababa yay. So in case you're wondering who Moses is definitely a black ancestor. Today's topic has been Moses is a black man. And never forget, Moses is a black ancestor. You've been watching Yeshua TV UK, Yeshua Television UK. Share my videos with your friends and family. And God bless you. Hold tight. Peace, yo. Woo! Peace, yo. Yeah? Peace. Yeah? All right. Thanks. Bless.